How long has this been on the agenda, Jim? When were you aware that Mark was looking at this role?
Only for a very, very short time. You know, I heard that the job was available. I thought he may well be somebody they'd be interested in, but then, you know, I had absolutely nothing to do with the process, and nor did I know that he actually was applying, because, you know, I think if you know these things, then it just compromises you.
Were you surprised?
Not really. I thought he would be a very strong candidate. Obviously, I don't know who else went for the role, but you know, I think it was a question of whether he really wanted the job. And I think the more he thought about, my understanding, having since chatted with him, is the more he thought about, the more excited him. So yeah, I think he'll be a very good choice.
For all Mark's achievements at Hove, which are considerable, the fact is Sussex were relegated to the second division last season. How much desire was there from Mark to see Sussex back into Division 1 before he left the club?
Oh, absolutely. An absolute passion on that. And indeed, you know, I am very firmly of the view that we were relegated by only 2 points. And Division 1 is very, very competitive. I mean, the Middlesex, who were second last year, survived relegation by 1 point the previous season. So it's a very tight cluster. And I think if we had not had the unprecedented amount of injuries to our seam bowlers, we would have been comfortably mid-table. So, you know, I think there's no attribution to anybody about why we were relegated, but Mark was very much involved in planning what we're going to do going forward, was involved in signing Danny Briggs from Hampshire. I think it's going to be a fantastic signing, and so on and so forth. So, yeah, very much wanting to drive us forward.
Mark has been 10 years in the role here at Hove. In a sense, is this a good sort of break point that he's got this opportunity to go to England, and it perhaps gives Sussex a start to move forward as well?
Well, it's a really good question, because Mark and I used to have this conversation from time to time, because 99% of sporting coaching jobs, and you know because you follow football a lot, end in tears. So nothing can give us greater pleasure than Mark's moving on at his volition, as did Peter Moores, the coach before. And I guess one of the points that's sometimes made, particularly if you're not winning matches, is, are we too introverted? Are we too in-house? And I think there's a real balance there. What we're always striving to do is to get the balance right between continuity, respecting the traditions, knowing the culture of the club, but equally having fresh ideas. And I think that Mark Davies, having been, if you like, in the shadows a bit for the last few years, is absolutely bursting and focused to do the new job. But he will be supported by some people that are fresh faces. And one of them, for example, is John Lewis, who's only been coaching for a year, but had a very significant and successful background as a player, both with Gloucestershire and with England. And I think we'll be looking to get somebody else also in to strengthen the coaching side.
Were there any other candidates for the job, Jim?
We had a succession plan ready, and I mean, Zach did. It was really driven by the executive. I mean, it's an executive-led club. But Zach did look around, and he also did some soundings, and he got some very good references on Mark Davies from people outside the club, which reinforced our belief that he was the right man.
Right. So was there an interview process, or was?
Not per se. No. We had the plan all ready to go. Should Mark go? And indeed, actually, we're thinking about restructuring the club, so Mark Davies was ready to go into this job.
Let's talk a bit about Mark. He's played for the county.
Yeah.
He's obviously served his apprenticeship under Mark Robinson. It seems to be very much the Sussex way, Jim.
Yeah, but he's a very different guy. I mean, he's obviously he's got a slightly different background. He's a South African by background, but actually he would tell you that his grandfather got VC, I think it was, fighting for the British, you know, in the past. So that's pretty proud. He's understandably proud about that. I'm not sure people know actually, but he's been very much part of Sussex since he joined us, both as a player and as a coach. And he and his family are very well immersed here. But he's very much his own man. He's got an MBA. He'll be a different sort of coach, and that's right and proper. And I think what he will say to you is that he will He will pick up the pieces that he's learnt from working with very established, successful coaches like Peter Moores and Mark Robinson, but will also inject his own ideas in. And I know he's got some firm ideas of how we need to get better, particularly in fielding and batting.
And we'll talk about those to Mark when he's so exciting times, Jim, and also
Absolutely.
working alongside, I should say, a new skipper as well. So
Yeah,
new
sure.
skipper, new coach.
Yeah, it's going to feel rather fresh. I mean, obviously, it was a huge disappointment being relegated last year. Indeed, when we set out at the beginning of the season, we had high hopes that we would be very successful in Division 1, and we led the competition, you may remember, early season. But then were stricken with these various injuries. So, as it so happens, I think this year is a great opportunity for us to refresh, regroup, new coach, new captain, and onwards and upwards, hopefully.
And let's look ahead, Jim. We're looking out now at the outfit. Looks fantastic. The sun, you can play cricket here today.
Yeah.
We've got to wait another 4.5 months. What's sort of going on in the background in terms of when are we likely to know when the fixtures are, and a bit of chatter as well about the one-day formats as well?
Sure, yeah. Well, my understanding is that the fixture list will be out towards the end of November. There was all this debate last year, the perpetual debate about the right format for the competition. My understanding is for next year, the fixtures are going to be more or less similar to the ones that are in 2015, with one exception, and that is I understand that the 50-over competition is likely to be on a regional basis. The reason for that, I think, is because the amount of travelling for players when they were sort of scuttling around between 50 and 20-over matches was really wasn't good in terms of players' health, safety and welfare, and also the ability to perform well. So the good news is that we'll have some local derbies and hopefully some bigger crowds. The bad news is, I suppose, that we won't be playing Lancashire and Yorkshire and Durham unless we get into the further rounds of the cup competitions, which we have high hopes that we will do so.
So fixtures coming out then, one-day competition. What about festivals, that sort of thing? Has any of that been discussed yet?
Still very much something we're discussing. I mean, we've got this dilemma here. On the one hand, we would like to play games outside of Hove, but on the other hand, we need to get support there. And it's interesting, I was looking at the figures just yesterday. Now, our takings at Horsham and Arundel were considerably down last year on prior year. I mean,
takings through the gate?
Yeah, gate money is down over 30%, and hospitality wasn't good at all. Whereas actually, interestingly enough, the takings at Hove were very much up. We had big increase in T20 crowds, and indeed our county championship gates were also up last year at Hove. So, I'm afraid it's that old cliche that it's use it or lose it. And unless we get significant sponsorship, I think it's highly likely we will only be playing one festival ground in 2016.
Right. Decision to be made when, Jim?
Shortly.
Okay. Another decision which will interest Sussex members will be the whole question of relegation and promotion for next season. What news on that? Because there's a lot of speculation that maybe there'll only be one place available for promotion next season.
I truthfully have no idea. At the moment, I mean, last year we got off to a bit of a false start with this restructuring that was sort of thought through. Let's just wind back a bit. The reason the ECB are trying to restructure domestic cricket is for three reasons. One is to increase engagement, attraction of the game. Secondly is to make it commercially viable. And thirdly, and most importantly, this is the biggest driver, is to improve the standard of cricket. The feeling at the moment is within the game is that players are playing too much cricket and therefore the standard of performance isn't as high as it should be. But secondly, strategically, white ball cricket is very important in world cricket. And in England we've got the World Cup coming here in 2019, and England's white ball cricket has been poor for many, many years. So, you've probably heard Andrew Strauss being very articulate about the need to improve white ball cricket, and that's one of the biggest drivers between trying to get the competitions moved around. Having said that, we are very cognizant that our members are very thrilled to the full county championship. And at the moment, the club's stance is that we want to see the T20 competition because that's a cash and attracts new people, and we want to see the county championship as full as possible. The 50-over competition, unfortunately, is a bit of an unloved beast at the moment, and it's trying to get that into the right place, I think, is the thing that's sort of perplexing everyone. So it's this balancing act as always between respecting traditions and what people want, but equally trying to future-proof the game and try and make sure that we're relevant for the next 20 years. I can't think of another sport that fiddles around with its format as comprehensively and often as we do, and no doubt our successors will be having the same conversations in 50 years' time. But as far as I can see, the ECB is currently undertaking another sort of stock take of where we should be, and I would have thought that we will not have anything agreed for next season until, that we must have the ground rules agreed for next season before we start the competition. So I guess it's watch this space.